Hey guys, I'm John Hall. I'm excited to talk about big ideas made by Prezi video. We're gonna have some fun today. It's a quick 10-minute video. If you need any more information, my contact information is gonna be at the end of this. To tell you a little more about me, I'm an author. If you haven't seen this book, it's called Top of Mind. Wrote this as well, started a few companies, calendar.com, part of relevance.com, and I want this time to be spent on really helping you focus on what's going to happen next year and how you can prepare for it. At the same time, I got to start off this every presentation with my number one thing is we've got in rule number one, keeping it real. I'm a husband and a father at the same time. You see the pictures I've got here. And in reality, I think the things I'm going to talk about is not just a professional thing. This is a personal thing as well. When you're trying to value your time and understanding this idea of ROIT. So when I mean like the ROIT, I mean the return on investment of your time. So in this new normal, you want to make sure you're using your time in the best way possible, not just professional, but personal. Life is short, and we want to make sure we're not just spending it professionally well, but we're spending it personally well. So here are the things that impact ROIT. You can, or at least can help for 2021, because these are going to be so important going into this next year. When you look at strategically aligning your efforts, building trust and helping your relationships grow, and also just simple self-awareness, if you can focus on these things at the core value of them, you can really do a lot in 2021 in this unique COVID environment as we run out of this pandemic. So first one, strategically aligning efforts. A lot of people have seen one of my past speeches and they say, okay, I've heard you always say to use a RACI matrix. And in reality, a RACI matrix to me is not the only way to strategically align efforts. The reason why I like RACI matrix, as you can see here, I'll blow it up here. You see that this is a great way to identify how you have roles at the top and you also have strategies and tactics on the left side of this doc. So the reason why I like this is that it not only is a way to organize what you're doing, but it gets your brain thinking when you're doing something, what other departments does this affect? Who else does this affect? Does it affect the CMO? Do I need to communicate with the PR department? Do I need to communicate with this person? It's becoming so much more important for you to look at these things and think about it. I don't even care if you do the matrix in the future, but I want you to start thinking that way, because when you're working remote, when people aren't in the office every day, it's incredibly valuable to know what you can do to help other people on the team, and you're going to maximize your efforts as a team. Next, building relationship and trust. This is in a lot of my speeches in the past, and I can't tell you how this is so important going into 2021, because we have a lack of trust. We went through a crazy hard election period where family was fighting, friends were fighting. We have media, people not trusting media. You got to focus on this as a business leader moving forward. If you don't, business is going to take a hit next year, because people are going to want to deal with people that they trust. Like, it's never been more important. So I'm going to just blow up trust. This is a focus this next year, is that I want you to put goals in place that's going to help you build trust with your employees, with your customers, with any stakeholders, and people around your personal life. So some of the things that for me, help with trust is when you're really focused on building a relationship of helpfulness. And so the first step here is truly caring about someone's motivations. One of the steps out of any of my speeches, I say right after the speech, I want you guys to set a goal of asking someone what would truly be helpful to them, what would truly move the needle and help them out. Right now, it's never been more important, because people are struggling, they're hurting, and even just help with some advocation or an intro or looking out for somebody in some way can really change the way that they look at the relationship, because this is when they're most vulnerable. When you have a pandemic going on, you've got mental stress things happening. You have parents having to work from home while being with their 2-3 kids. I mean, there's so many different challenges that everybody deals with, not just parents, but professionals in general. And just simply asking them what you can do to help is going to make a world of difference. And also just understanding their motivations. The more you understand how people are motivated in 2021, you're gonna see people. You're gonna get truth, and you're gonna actually figure out what you can do to move the needle and become a true partner with them. The next thing is introductions and advocating. Right now, it's never been more important. I strongly advise people to focus on programs right now, because you don't have the same sales force you used to. You couldn't do a lot of in person. Now, I think in the future, hopefully in 2021, there will be more in person stuff. But I think there is going to be a hybrid, and I think that ultimately you have to focus on things like partners or inbound marketing. I like partners because a lot of times you can get people to look out for you. If you get that step one down where they know how to help you, they can look out for you and they can naturally draw people back to you. And it's kind of adding microphones, or I would say amplifiers, to your messaging. So when you look at, what you used to do is you could go to an event, meet 200 people, have your salespeople hitting the ground. Now you just don't do that as much. So for me, it's really important that, you focus on the things that you can do, and also, expanding those amplifiers. And if you get partners, advocates to really, do well. Jay Baer wrote a book that all about referrals called Talk Triggers that I thought was really great. But that's an important part of 2021 is getting those amplifiers out there so that you can draw people in without having to be in person, without having to go to events. Because when people are partners that have trusted customers or people they're interacting with, that trust passes on, and it's less of a requirement to see them in person. Gifting, recognizing people. These are two key things that are fairly simple, but people just do it wrong. I honestly used to gift wrong until I read the book Giftology, written by a good friend of mine, John Ruhlin. And I used to get gifts just to check the box. And when I read that book, I started thinking about how can you personalize any gifts, even if it's at scale. There's a lot of things that I've done with just media relationships in my past company where people ask me, how did I get that relationship? And a lot of times it wasn't sending some crazy extravagant, like, $2,000, $3,000 gift. Sometimes that can turn people off. Sometimes it's just getting really personal, and really connecting with that person because you care about their lives. It's kind of going back to step one here. You do something that really is only to them. For example, I gave an editor a gardening set for her wedding, but the reason why we got it is because that's the thing she really liked doing with her husband. And we wrote a note and we explained that. And I'm still friends with the editor to this day. And I think there's going to be more of that going into 2021, where people are going to want those connections because we're thriving for it right now. We're not seeing as many people as we used to. And if someone connects to us in a meaningful way, it means a lot. And then you also want to make sure that you're showing appreciation right now, because a lot of times people are feeling underappreciated. When we're in person, when we're in the office, a lot of times we can go and jump in and say, hey, great job. Thank you for doing that. Now it's just not as much because, that's a lot easier to do in person. But I want people to do that at scale in 2021. I want you to write a lot of thank you notes. I'm writing probably 5 to 10 personal thank you notes every day. I'm doing simply recognizing people when they do good work at other companies who work with us. And so that to me, it's very simple, but just putting in some processes in place so that when you're interacting with people, whether it be on a Zoom call, whether it be, if you get that shot in person, still do that, because I'm telling you that the people want that, the people you deal with want more of the connection, because no matter what, we're just getting less of it these days. And then lastly, consistent education is probably one of the most scalable ones that I would hit on here, is that when you're consistently educating people, and what I mean by that is like sending them articles, creating content within your company, your thought leadership, being within the industry, actually talking and getting quoted, getting out there more, because the more people see you, the more there's going to be that natural trust. And especially if it's in a way where you're educating them, they're learning from you. So there needs to be a significant investment in thought leadership, in content creation, in the investment of employee brands. You want to become a magnet for education in your industry. One of my big focuses in one of my companies is owning your industry. Like this agency that I'm advising is truly focused on owning your industry and what you can do as a company to do that, whether it be PR, whether it be SEO, whether it be positioning. There's so many things that right now, running out of this pandemic, there's gonna be some holes, and you can gain a lot of market share. And education, content, it should be a focus. Like any company I'm advising right now, I'm saying, hey, as soon as we see this opening, let's run after this, let's dominate this industry, and let's do everything we can to truly have a digital presence that attracts all the people we want. So, lastly, self awareness is a key factor of understanding your time. When I started Calendar, this is one of the things that I saw. I actually mentioned Jay Bear in this in this presentation already, but I looked. I used my own tool to realize that I was missing meetings. I was spending time, doing things that I probably shouldn't have been doing. I wasn't actually scrapbooking with Tamsin. That was a joke. But I started paying a lot of attention to how I spend my time and with who. And so I started realizing, and I changed. And over time, you saw changes where I was spending more time with the people that matter most to me. And it was because I was time boxing effectively, which those of you who don't know, there's a great time boxing thing that Prezi put together with Nir, Ewal, and myself. Type in time boxing Prezi and try and find that, because this is a great strategy. If you type in this article in HBR, you'll see that this was the single best strategy for spending your time. And so, and actually being effective with your time. And that's because when you're aware of your time, you're scheduling it very consistently, and you're tracking it in a way that you schedule time to get stuff done or if you book time, like for example, I book like every 15 to 30 minutes, I'm booking time. I don't have free time because I'm even scheduling breaks. I'm scheduling when I'm spending time talking to go home and see my daughters. For me, it allows you to relax and release and kind of like disconnect from the real world, and you actually schedule that time. At the same time, it allows you to get tasks done faster. So a quote I always say, you heard me say it earlier, is, life is short, but it truly is. Life, that's the thing about life. It is short, it's precious, and each day is a gift. We should do everything we can to spend our time in the best way humanly possible. And the last, here's my contact. I will tell you is that I'm pretty easy to reach. You can email my Gmail right there. And I do some Prezi things, every once in a while, and I enjoy this platform. In addition, you can follow me on LinkedIn, where I have a newsletter that you can pay attention to. So don't be scared to reach out if you think I can be helpful. And then the one last step, I want everybody to keep this on their desks in 2021. There's things that matter. There's things that you can control. Focus on that overlap, and it will help you with your mental health, your stress levels, and help you focus on what truly matters, whether it be your time focus. And 2021, I truly hope it's a better year than 2020 for most. If I can be of help, please let me know. Thank you for having me on this Prezi presentation. It was my pleasure.